we all know you are what you eat. Spiritually, too, you are what you consume. The art and film and music you consume shapes and reinforces your own sense of life, your sense of what kind of world this is, and your place in it. What's possible, what really matters. View and watch and listen to works which affirm your own worst view of the world and what is possible to you within this kind of world. And those aspects of your spirit will be reinforced. Take in art and movies and music which reminds you of the best of what the world has to offer and the best of your own potential, what's open to you, what you can have and be. And that's what you will experience in your spirit, in your sense of life, your view of the world.
When you try to fight the culture, when you try to change the culture, you can't really force the culture. Like you can't. It's an overstated narrative that the Frankfurt School and these guys set out to change the culture. Right? It was much more of an organic process, but people like the Breitbarts of the world and Ben Shapiro, they like to paint this picture that like, oh, the Frankfurt School, they set out to change the culture, and the Woodstock hippies, they set out to take over the culture. But really, the culture changed organically because there was an intellectual thing happening and artists followed their inspiration and journalists followed what they thought was the correct, like what was the proper way, and teachers, etc. It was much more of an organic process. And that's how cultures really change. So conservatives, they try to like fight the culture war, change the culture. And I think probably objectivists should be looking at conservatives and saying, we don't want to be that. We don't want to be changing the culture. We want to be studying and teaching this philosophy. We want to be encouraging, people to follow their judgment and see how the culture changes as a result.
What is second-handedness? More formally, it's called social metaphysics, or the social primacy of consciousness. You take other people's say-so as if it were fact on everything. People become your substitute for reality, so you live secondhand. They give you their ideas for you to use just as if they gave you their clothes that you got secondhand. So you live on borrowed opinion, borrowed judgment.
Tate brags all the time about his material, and quite often he says things like, when I enter in a bar and in a club, I want everyone to see me and my hose. Now, here's why when it becomes second-handed. When you say, when I enter the club, I want everyone to see me. So why do you need that? You're young, you're powerful, you're a kickboxing champion, you're successful, you're rich. Why do you need why do you need the admiration or the fear of others? So, hoping I'm not committing much hubris, he reminds me a bit of a Gail Wynand, someone who could have been great, because again, you don't become rich and you don't become a kickboxing champion without putting effort, without putting dedication, but because of the bad code, because of the bad ideas, because of the, for a lack of a better word, toxic ideas, you end up a victim of yourself. And of course, you also victimize others on the way because you see life as a zero-sum game.
It's the dichotomy that we're always given, right? The self-sacrificer over the predatory personality. And that's why people are considering it a battle between good and evil, because that's the way they look at the world. Human beings are either sacrificing themselves for the sake of others or sacrificing others for the sake of themselves. And that's the way Andrew Tate comes off. He comes off like that malignant narcissist who will do what he wants, will break the rules, because what it's about is his satisfaction, his sensual satisfaction, while Greta Thunberg will sacrifice the entire world, including her own comfort and happiness, for the sake of the earth and the betterment of something other than herself. So, I mean, these guys are the epitome of their camps, right? Of the altruist, cannibalistic ethics that we have been taught to swallow hook, line, and sinker. And that's why they look at her as the good guy. And you're right, she is more of a threat because she embodies what the culture embraces as the good. And Tate sort of embodies what the culture embraces as the bad. And until we straighten out that dichotomy, and sort out that neither of them give us answers that we need, we'll fall into this trap every time, right?
Your time will come, Republicans. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you've gotten us to a place where the left look like the adults in the room. It's sad, but, you chose this.
You made Nancy Pelosi look like this dignified leader who takes control of the situation in the Capitol.
Yeah, and the main takeaway of January 6th, again, to me, is just the failure of this new right. And they could have learned their lesson right then, but basically everything since then is like a footnote on January 6th. Just they're failing to learn that same lesson over and over again. And I don't know how many more elections Republicans need to lose at a federal level. I don't know how many more things need to happen where they drive themselves out of polite society. But it's basically January 6th was the moment of clarity that they have failed to observe.
No knowledge is automatic. As Ayn Rand says, we have no innate knowledge, inborn knowledge. If that's what you mean by instincts, humans have no instincts. We have to learn everything, including our own values, our own hierarchy of values. And that requires introspection. And as a young person, it also requires that you get out there and explore different areas. I hate the child labor laws you referred to earlier, frankly. I will proudly say, now I think the statute of limitations is long past on this, I flagrantly violated the child labor laws to work in a factory at the age of 14. But working in a factory at the age of 14 did give me a much greater sense of what I wanted to do. And I could see people next to me finding great joy in design, engineering, manufacturing, all the things that were going on around me. That was their passion. That was their life. And I realized it wasn't mine. But yeah, get out there, try stuff. None of this knowledge is automatic. And finding out what we love and what we love most is a discovery, something we have to learn.